Welcome to Prototype Thinking in Action. This is the podcast where we talk to founders, dive into one big challenge that they are facing, and help them solve it by using the prototype thinking method. Let's get started.
How are you feeling, Mina? What's going through your mind right now?
I feel good about this. I love the direction. I think this is the kind of tension that it's really good tension, if that makes sense.
I think we're right at first user. It's like, what on earth are we doing? We're just dying to learn more stuff. It's almost like I can't even articulate a feeling exactly because everything is so inchoate. Let's take the time and debrief what we learned and saw. What were your big takeaways?
A lot of the conflict that I've been having of, is this
Really?
a wellness tool? Is this, or is it a performance tool?
Yeah.
And it's like, the answer is both, right? Well-being is affecting performance.
It was so interesting to me that as a VP, she goes, well, I don't care about any of the money stuff. And she just ignored it from the beginning and the entire rest of the time. We had a lot of metrics in different parts of the prototype, which is a thing you did that I love in prototypes, is just put lots of things in there and see what she responds to. And she's like, no, I don't care about the monetary value of that. But over and over again, she talks about, I just want to know if my employees burn out.
The decision quality, that struck me when it's like, one of the things I want to know is decision quality going up. And this is definitely two things that we can do are decision quality and speed and frequency. Decision fatigue is part of the fatigues that we track. The pulse check on burnout. I wonder why burnout matters. If there's not the monetary side and also we're wanting individuals to manage it for themselves, why does the pulse check on burnout matter?
She enjoys taking care of people. She enjoys mentoring. So maybe she wants to know so that she knows when she can intervene. She also used the phrase, help people do their best work, a few times. That's another qualitative metric. Another way that we track learnings is noticing patterns in behavior of what she did, not just what she literally said. I think the most interesting thing to me was that she's one of the people who cares most about taking care of employees in burnout, of senior people that I've worked with. But she still never actually understood the giant vision. Like the entire time, she was really still on, do I know that burnout is happening? Let me prevent burnout. In some sense, she was still on when burnout starts to happen, let me intervene, rather than this idea of understanding like what truly preventing it ever happening looks like. And I think we just learned a lot about what we want to put in our prototype to make clear what's actually going on. And I feel like a lot of this was just really helpful as a dry run test, just to know like the other pages that we want to be building. I was surprised that she still never viscerally imagined the grand vision. And it makes me wonder, is this because the grand vision is too big, complex, and ambitious, and most people will only ever want the first bite of it, and it's a simple burnout tracker? Value proposition for her is essentially it's a burnout tracker that doesn't require you to burn out to input information to use it. It's like an automated burnout tracker. Or once we build out the rest of the prototype, will there be a deeper magic moment that really clicks and when she realizes the true potential of the machine? So it's interesting because her baseline's a 3. So theoretically, we can just get her to a 6 from a 3, though in enterprise, you generally want 4 points if you can get it. But we are missing something for her. And I think we might actually have the thing. So that's why I really want to use this as a lesson in how we're building and then follow up with her. I think what we're missing is the project level of intervention. So like, as I was noticing what she got confused on, right? Like if we develop out this, because really completely different mechanical things are happening on each of these 3 levels, and then they integrate. So I try to do like, this is what each level does, but then I think it was impossible to imagine what was going on the project level. So I really do want to see how she reacts to it because she is so burned by the dehumanization of resource allocation. What if we propose fun, pro-social, lightweight
resource
allocation that feels good to everybody, and see if we can make resource allocation feel good to her, because she sure acted like resource allocation is like a 1. Let's see, what else did we learn about her? The whole thing on buying. I am worried about the integrations approval. So I'm really glad we can get that conversation. Let's see, any other obvious insights that you got from it?
If our beachhead is wellness and we can just expand from there, because if we have the metadata, everything else essentially just happens. It's really just a matter of translating that back in on a dashboard or into a Slack or whatever else. I'm really wondering about positioning here.
I think that is exactly the sort of question that you get when you have tested with one user. So what I would do is just not worry about it, build out the prototype a lot better, and then let's grab 3 more users and then it will be way more obvious. Because what we're missing is we have so many points on her that are interesting points, but we don't know the weight of those points compared to everybody else. She did resonate with 89% of performance loss is invisible. No other performance related stuff, but visibility was her frustration.
That's a good point.
Like over and over. She just doesn't know. And she's a senior exec. She has like 70 people under her. She just wants to know how they're doing, but they're in this sub-team structure and she can't just keep sending out more surveys and stressing them all out. Yeah, next steps, let's build the prototype, run tests with engineering managers, get another VP, like get an HR person. Yeah.
Got it. Building this out, what are my next steps?
Essentially just making stylized prototypes of what they would be seeing at each level of the actual product.
I like this breakdown into the levels, like the Slack integrations and the individualized coaching.
Yeah.
Which she seemed to like this down here. Clairvoyant 24/7 mental wellness and performance.
Yeah. Because she didn't understand what it was until then. And maybe then you can record a 30-second video if you feel like it, or we can just have you be the video. Yeah, whatever you prefer.
In the video, I need to explain cognitive bandwidth and what it looks like to translate that into weight. So you can think about it as weightlifting.
Everybody's going to have their own learning curve about it. Oh, there was one thing that I wish that we'd said, which is the bit about how projects fail because they run out of cognitive bandwidth, but we can predict them in advance. But people don't realize how often projects don't hit deadlines because of burnout. I think that's actually a useful fact that should go somewhere in there.
Burnout and performance seem to be separate in people's minds, but they're seriously
That's true. That's true the entire time. As somebody who is really human-centric, the entire time she didn't make connected, and she actively was turned off by the connection. And why is that? Or how do we get people to connect to burnout? Or maybe it's what we mean by performance. Well, the brute force way to not worry about this too philosophically is just to add a burnout and performance featured section somewhere on this deck.
Do we want to make that lift right now? Do we want to make that lift, or do we want to just pick one?
So the way we think about prototypes is dump a little bit of everything in there so that they can bounce on it. Because if we pick one, what if it's the wrong one? But if we dump a box with both, then they have the option to react to it and pick one.
Got it.
Yeah. This is the advantage of completely removing the burden to make a realistic design. You just dump a bunch of information on them and then run them through it and like see what they're tracking on.
I love it.
So we left our heroes, being us, having run the user test with MC and gotten a much better sense of what we wanted in the prototype. So we are ready to test the full prototype with our first user. This is the new version. Ooh, there's a lot of things here.
Yeah, and it's based off of the things that I'm hearing are actually meaningful. So we have the overview with MC, and this has been echoed with others too. She was not really that interested in the cost savings or the performance side. She was more interested in the health of her team. And so this overview dashboard is really centered on health and satisfaction. So we're undermining the need for
interesting
surveys and that continuous monitoring of employee satisfaction, aligning that with workload so you can see exactly how much strain, because some stress is good, right? How much stress is your thrive threshold for pushing your team? So we can collate that. And then their satisfaction scores with their workload, their leadership, and then a breakdown, workload, fatigue score.
Interesting. You have these things. All right.
Engagement.
Yeah, your team has been running hot for 2 weeks. Consider delaying the next sprint to promote recovery.
So this is, I think, more...
What's the difference between running hot on workload and fatigue?
A higher workload sometimes is going to correlate with higher satisfaction if it's challenging them. But if you're trying to figure out when to have a high workload and when to let people rest, that's why I've separated the workload from the fatigue.
I would change the copy on these so that the copy is more distinctive. Also, I would make all of the text way, way bigger. Like this is more beautiful than legible right now. Okay, disengagement score. This is positive, right? Can we call it like unplugging score or something?
Yeah, that's great. Page 3 shows the interface. So if you scroll down, you can see the chat. What the AI agent's doing on the dashboard is you can click on any of these and ask specific questions, and it'll tell you how the scores are calculated, how to implement it in your leadership, things like that.
I think this is great as a true UX. For the purpose of the prototype, what I would do, it would have pop-ups ready with the answer of how it's calculated and like a little like button here so that they can naturally navigate to how it's calculated, and you can pull the pop-up in and out. So what I do with a pop-up, for example, if this was my pop-up, just kind of hang it off the side like this. But I just save it elsewhere on the page and then pull it in manually.
Oh, that's so easy and so smart.
So I just do it like this. Right, here we go. Now it has a background, so it's not visible, but I secretly know there's a pop-up tab here. When they click the pop-up button or whatever, I just pull in and say, this is your pop-up.
That's really good.
Interactions delivered, user interaction, interventions delivered. What's user interactions?
When people actually click on or engage with an intervention. So we'll deliver interventions. That doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to click on it, read the message, and then do what it says.
Okay, so shouldn't interventions offered be strictly higher than interventions?
Not necessarily, because the interventions are often conversational. We want people to report specific things. For instance, if the pop-up says, I noticed this, I think you might be fatigued. Do you agree? And the user can respond with, yes, I have been feeling fatigued. And then the next part of that conversation might be a suggestion or exploring it. But the process of the intervention might be longer than just, hey, do this thing. As a matter of fact, on the Slack side, you can see that it's going to be conversational.
Okay, I see. So every message they send Rhenari gets counted, but it might all fall under one intervention. What do you think about calling it interventions offered and interactions with Rhenari?
I like it.
Okay. Rate of success.
If that's clearer, then absolutely.
I'm totally curious to have a pop-up on how is this calculated.
I need to do a better job of featuring those calculations, and I added a section for that on the new landing page too.
Let's see, employee participation rate.
One of the ways that people are really losing money from burnout is presenteeism, so essentially quiet quitting, when people show up to work when they're sick or when they're just not focused. We want to be able to consistently show that people are planning their vacations, which is a sign of a healthy team, versus not showing up suddenly or showing up in their work slipping.
I think what I'm missing about a lot of these charts, like this one and this one, is the so what. Even here, right? I think I need you to help me connect the dots with, and then what do I do with this information? To me, these things are obvious because you're telling me, oh, ease off the gas or morale is high, keep going. Like what I do with this is obvious, and this is what MC wanted. But what I do with this data is not obvious. I'm missing the part where I can take action to fix it.
I have the pop-up on another page. It's supposed to be for is when you click on something, it walks you through how to actually implement the data. But
do you have an example of that somewhere?
Yeah, over on page 3. It says you clicked on the burnout risk module. It explains it a little bit and then gives you a few options where you can chat for what you want to do next.
Okay, so let's say I figure out which team is most at risk, and then I say, how do I help lower the risk? What does it say?
I would say if you're looking at burnout risk, it should be able to calculate what's causing the burnout risk. If the burnout risk is coming from meeting fatigue and task switching, which people should know, then it would say, task switching is X amount of weight. People need 10 minutes between meetings to get ready for the next meeting. You need to implement, a 10 to 15 minute buffer. Shorten your meetings, add this buffer time.
Okay. I don't know if you realize how mind-blowing what you just said was.
Okay.
Because that is the punchline of everything. Because we're talking burnout risk is high. Okay, great. What's causing burnout risk? Rhenari is able to detect that it's because of task switching rather than because of annoying management or because of too many hours. You mean I can, as a manager, you can tell me that? And it's because of something like task switching? And then you're telling me, oh, wait, the specific task switching solution that your team needs is to have these 2 hours of no Slack time, or you're telling me 15-minute buffer between meetings. You're giving me a meaningful interpretation and then a tactical outcome. Like that is the punchline that's impossible for me to imagine from where I am, but is so valuable that you can give that type of result. So I would love to see 4 examples of that punchline. Now I know that that's what you mean by some of these ovals. Like, let's break down where burnout is coming from your team. It's this fraction task management. It's this fraction communications confusion and because of the reorg. And these things are low and these things are high. And these are the leverage points that you have for each of them. Like, that's insane.
Cool.
Okay, let me see what's going on Slack here. I like the range of descriptions. Like, then something is going wrong intervention. You did a good job. Okay, so I have two big homework assignments for you. One is to still pull in all the stuff that we made last time for MC. Like, don't leave it off because they still need that to understand what Rhenari is. So this is the 2-pager. Oh, cool. Team shows burnout before performance dips. Right? And then you're making burnout a noun. This is so much clearer than previous ones. I love this. I think this is fabulous. My number one piece of feedback to you is legibility. People are reading it on a screen share. Your body text is important and it's small and it tends to be in piles. So you need more lists or highlighting or bold the important parts or something. In general, just always make it more legible.
Got it.
I would still do something like this because the 3 levels of intervention is so important to explaining what it is. And I think it really helped it click for MC.
Where do we want to put that?
Probably on the 1-pager logically makes a little more sense, but maybe like before the FAQ. Okay, so your homework assignments are to explain the 3 layers of the pyramid. For this, to add the example interventions somewhere to the flow and to create pop-ups as much as possible and fix the font sizing and legibility. Those are the 4 action items.
That is so doable.
Awesome. Great going.
Thank you for listening to Prototype Thinking in Action. Please don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Join our email list and follow us for exclusive access to tools, case studies, and live workshops. All links can be found in the description below. See you next time.